The T-34 versus the M4 Sherman, two of the most famous tanks ever created. This will not only be a review of technical facts and details, but a collision of two concepts of armoured warfare whose consequences are felt to this day when it comes to the development of armoured vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you on this side an iconic multi-purpose Sherman tank, and on this side the Soviet sloping armoured legend T-34. While the Sherman and T-34 didn't engage in direct combat against each other during World War II, that doesn't stop us from comparing these two tanks and weighing the technical and other characteristics of both tanks and finally declaring the winner. Both tanks were designed to be highly effective weapons of war. The Sherman was a reliable and versatile tank that served as the backbone of the Allied armoured forces. It was highly adaptable, with different variants being used for a variety of purposes, including infantry support, reconnaissance and anti-aircraft defence. Its relatively lightweight and speed made it highly manoeuvrable on the battlefield, and it was equipped with a powerful 75mm gun that could take out most German tanks at the time. The T-34 on the other hand was a revolutionary design that changed the course of tank warfare. It was the first tank to combine sloped armour, which greatly increased its defensive capabilities, with a powerful 76mm gun that could penetrate most German armour. The T-34 was also highly mobile with a top speed of up to 33 miles per hour, and its wide tracks allowed it to traverse rough terrain with ease. By the way, hi, I'm Alex Garner and welcome to the Armourgeddon channel. If you like tanks and history, be sure to click the like button and subscribe down below. This competition between the Sherman and T-34 isn't just a matter of technological specifications, it's also a clash of two technological theories and approaches to tank construction. The Sherman was a product of American industrial might, designed to be mass-produced and standardised for maximum efficiency. The T-34, if you want, was a product of Soviet ingenuity, designed to be simple and rugged so that it could be produced quickly and easily in large numbers. Despite their differences, both tanks proved to be highly effective on the battlefield. The Sherman, like this one used behind me, was used extensively in the European and Pacific theatres of war, where it played a key role in many major battles, including the Normandy invasion and the Battle of the Bulge. The T-34, meanwhile, was used by the Soviet Union on the Eastern Front, where it was instrumental in turning the tide of the war against Hitler. The versatility of the Sherman was one of its main advantages. As a multi-purpose vehicle, the tank was used for a list of different tasks, including infantry support, reconnaissance and anti-tank operations. But let's not forget the Sherman's firepower. Early Shermans mounted a 75mm medium velocity general purpose gun. Later, the M4A1 and M4A2 and the M4A3 models received the larger turret with a higher velocity 76mm gun. The first standard production 76mm gun armed Sherman was the M4A1, accepted in January 1944, which then first saw combat in July 1944 during Operation Cobra. The gun was also capable of firing high explosive shells, which made it highly effective against enemy infantry and fortifications. The Sherman was also highly manoeuvrable thanks to its wide tracks and powerful engine. The tank was capable of reaching speeds of up to 30 miles per hour thanks to the air-cooled Continental-produced Wright R975 Whirlwind 9-cylinder radial petrol engine, making it one of the fastest tanks of its time. The Sherman's mobility made it highly effective in both offensive and defensive operations, and it allowed American tank commanders to quickly adapt to ever-changing battlefield conditions. Perhaps one of the most impressive technical characteristics of the Sherman, however, was its reliability. The tank was designed to be easy to maintain, which made it highly effective in the field. The Sherman's reliability also meant it could be quickly and easily repaired on the battlefield, allowing damaged tanks to be put back into action quickly. So anyway, some of the primary advantages of the T-34 was its armour. The tank was more protected than the armour thickness itself would suggest due to the heavily sloping armour design. Just a quick little side note, this isn't a T-34, this is actually a T-55. We had one, but we sold our T-34 a few years ago, so because I'm talking about a Soviet vehicle and this is the only Soviet tank we've got, I'm just going to use this one as a backdrop. The shape also saved weight by reducing the thickness required to achieve equal protection. Another important technical characteristic of the T-34 was its firepower. The tank was equipped with a 76.2mm gun fitted on the vast majority of T-34s produced through to the beginning of 1944. It was able to penetrate any early German tank armour at normal combat ranges, and when firing APCR shells it could pierce 92mm armour at 500 metres. The Panzer III and the Panzer IV, for example, only had about 50 to 80mm of flat frontal armour. The T-34 was also highly manoeuvrable. It was powered by a Model V234 with a 38.8 litre V12 diesel engine, giving it a 500 horsepower. It also had a top speed of 33 miles per hour. It used the coil spring Christie suspension of the early BT series tanks, using a slack track tread system with a rear mounted drive sprocket. Undoubtedly, one of the most remarkable technical features of the T-34, however, was its simplicity. The T-34's simplicity also meant that it could be quickly and easily repaired or replaced depending on the situation and need on the battlefield. The M4A1 Sherman was the standard variant of the tank, and it was used extensively in both the European and Pacific theatres of war. Equipped with a powerful 76mm gun, the M4A1 could destroy most enemy tanks during the war, and its relatively lightweight and speed made it highly manoeuvrable on the battlefield. But Sherman's adaptability didn't stop with the standard M4A1 variant. Throughout the war, a number of different variants were used and developed, each with its own unique set of features and capabilities. For example, the M4A3 Sherman was a later variant of the tank that was equipped with a more powerful engine and more advanced transmission system, making it faster and more reliable than earlier models. The M4A3E8 version, also known as the Easy 8, was further improved with a 76mm gun and a more effective suspension system, making it even more effective in combat. Another important variant of the Sherman was the M4A3E2 Jumbo, like our restoration project behind me. Now, this tank was heavily armoured with an extra 4 inches of thick frontal armour welded on that made it almost impervious to enemy fire. While the Jumbo was slower and less manoeuvrable than other Sherman variants, its defensive capabilities made it highly effective in situations where it was necessary to hold ground against enemy attacks. Perhaps the most famous variant of the Sherman, however, was the M4A3E2. This tank was equipped with a unique rocket launcher system that could fire a barrage of 60 rockets in just 15 seconds, making it highly effective in infantry support roles. It was used extensively during the Normandy invasion and other battles in Europe, where it proved to be a powerful weapon against German infantry. The T-34 was first introduced in 1940, and it immediately made a strong impression on those who saw it. Its sloping armour and powerful 76mm gun made it highly effective against German tanks, and its speed and manoeuvrability made it a formidable opponent on the battlefield. But the T-34's success didn't end with its initial design. Over the course of the war, a number of variations of the tank were developed, each with its own unique features and capabilities. One of the key strengths of the T-34 was its adaptability. The tank was designed to be a multi-purpose vehicle, and its various variants were used for a wide range of combat objectives. The T-34-85, introduced in 1944, was a later variant of the tank that was equipped with an even more powerful 85mm gun, making it even more deadly against German tanks. Another important variant of the T-34 was the T-34-76 model in 1943. This tank was heavily armoured with 90mm of frontal armour that made it almost impenetrable to German shells. The model 1943 was slower and less manoeuvrable than other T-34 variants. Its defensive capabilities made it highly effective in situations where all it was necessary to do was hold a firing position at all costs. But the most well-known variant of the T-34, however, was the T-34-85, commonly known as Ruddy. This tank was used extensively by the Polish army in the post-war period, and it became a beloved symbol of Polish military might. The T-35-85 Ruddy was equipped with a unique camouflage pattern, making it highly recognisable on the battlefield, and it remains an iconic image of the Cold War era to this day. The American Sherman tank played a key role in some of the most pivotal battles of World War II. From the deserts of North Africa to the fields of Europe, the Sherman proved to be a resourceful and effective weapon on the battlefield. One of the most famous battles that the Sherman tank was involved in was the Battle of El Alamein in 1942. In this battle, the British and American forces fought against the German Panzer Army in Africa under the command of the famous General Erwin Rommel. The Sherman was a major player in the battle, helping to push the Germans back and give the Allies an important victory. The Battle of the Bulge in 1944 was another great battle in which the Sherman played a vital role. In this battle, the Sherman was used to help defend against German counterattacks, and it proved to be a horrifying weapon against the heavily armoured German tanks. Sherman's mobility and firepower proved to be crucial in the battle, and it helped turn the tide in the favour of the Allies. At last, the Battle of Okinawa in 1945 was one more important battle which the Sherman showed its incredible abilities. In this battle, the Sherman was used to support the ground troops as they fought their way across the island. The tank's ability to provide cover and support to the infantry troops was important in helping secure victory against the Japanese army. The Soviet T-34 tank is widely considered to be one of the most effective and influential tanks of World War II. With its innovative design and powerful performance, the T-34 played an effective role in some of the most critical battles of the Great Patriotic War. The 1942 Battle of Stalingrad was one of the largest and most important battles in which the T-34 took part. In this battle, the T-34 proved to be an overwhelming opponent for German tanks, and it was crucial in assisting the Soviet Union in winning the war. Due to its powerful weaponry and manoeuvrability, the T-34 was an essential advantage in the battle, and it helped the Soviet forces secure an eventual victory. 1943, the Battle of Kursk. The T-34 was an asset that was used in this battle to help repel the German advances, and it was quite efficient against the German panzers. The Soviet Union won the battle by pushing back the German forces with assistance in the form of the T-34's mobility and ferocity. The Battle of Berlin in 1943, the T-34-85 was used to support the Soviet ground troops as they fought their way into the heart of the German capital. With a more powerful 85mm gun, the T-34-85 was merciless and deadly for the German Tiger tanks. Lastly, there was the 1945 Battle of
Königsberg.
The T-34 was employed in this battle to aid in the besiegement of
Königsberg.
Germany, and it showed to be an extremely successful instrument of warfare versus the German defences. If these two tanks faced off one-on-one, I definitely believe the Sherman would win. However, if we're talking about which tank I personally think played a bigger part in World War II, then I'd have to give it to the T-34, purely as a numbers game. They produced nearly 85,000 of these. Having so many produced was a huge part of the reason why the Eastern Front was eventually won by the Allies. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.